Hello, friends. Welcome to our midday yoga session. We call it Blissful Warrior, and usually it's on our Blissful Warrior private page, but for this holiday week, we're bringing it back here to the public page at Riverflow Yoga. I'm Rhonda Aretsky. I'm the owner of Riverflow Yoga, which is a hot yoga studio located in Lambertville, New Jersey. This practice that we do here in the middle of the day is a practice that I created called Blissful Warrior, and it is a practice that combines we've got stretching, breathing, pausing really is the basis of this practice. So I know today's Black Friday, and of course that means yesterday was Thanksgiving. So what are we pausing from? Well, you're pausing from everything. Maybe from eating, from cooking, from serving, from cleaning up, maybe from shopping. Today, Black Friday, I've done all of those things so far between yesterday and today. And not that those things aren't fun and those things aren't enjoyable, but taking this time to pause is like regrouping. It's sort of like remembering who you are. And we can lose ourselves sometimes. And sometimes it's fun to lose yourself. And if it's the joy of the holiday season, then it can be a lot of fun to just sort of get swept up in it. But if what happens is you get overwhelmed, and this is a very unique kind of holiday, yes? A lot of us had Thanksgiving yesterday. I know I personally had a Zoom Thanksgiving, and I have to say I sort of enjoyed it. I have family in Texas and Seattle. I'm here in New Jersey, family in Long Island, and we got together online in a way that we never have before. So it really was enjoyable. And if yours wasn't, please don't use this as a reason to feel badly. Some of us are missing the in-person holidays. Some of us are wondering why we are not doing the in-person holidays. Whatever it is that your holiday begins to unfold and look like, just be okay to feel however you feel about it. Thanksgiving is a holiday where we all talk about being grateful and appreciative and thankful. And if you don't feel that way, if you are feeling anything other than that, angry, upset, snarky, whatever it is, you might feel guilty about it. But I'm going to invite you to appreciate however you feel and to notice that that's just the truth of it for you in this moment. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you need to change or fix anything, at least not before you take a moment to pause and simply accept that, this is how I feel right now. Feelings are very changeable, but they're also very important. They really do let you know where you are. And that's sort of an important thing to know. It's your starting point. We spend a lot of time resisting our feelings, right? Wanting to pretend that we feel differently and maybe affirm ourselves into feeling better, talk ourselves into feeling better. Nothing wrong with that. But I would suggest that you first take the moment to pause and just land wherever you are. So let's do that right now. Grab some water. It's a really good way to land. In this practice, we are going to be drinking a lot of water. So grab some water. Let's have a sip. I'm going to notice that I actually haven't had too much water this morning. I usually drink half my body weight in ounces of water every day. It's just a thing that I do. I have found it to be extremely beneficial. If you'd like to try it, I would say give yourself 30 days of giving it a try and see if you notice any differences for the better. But for right now, a couple of sips will do you just fine. I notice for myself that once I start to drink water, I begin to really feel like myself. And what does this mean to feel like yourself? I'm going to suggest that the basis of who you are is a being that is balanced and has a sense of well-being and a sense of health and vitality. And anytime you feel other than that, there's nothing wrong. It's just a measurement of how far away you are from the naturally good feeling being that you are. So it's sort of nice to notice when you're feeling other than well-being that it's just a a little signal that, maybe it's time to pause, and in that pause, to allow yourself to settle, to resettle. It's really easier than we think. We do a lot of hard work with our bodies to try to get ourselves whipped into shape. But maybe it's time for the whipping part to stop. Maybe it's time to just relax and allow yourself to pause, to drink some water, to breathe a little bit, and to notice that this naturally good feeling person that you are just arises on its own. So let's arrive in this practice. Find a comforting place for your body. I try to avoid the word comfortable. It has a bit of a bad connotation. People are always telling you to push yourself out of your comfort zone. I think that's more of that whipping yourself into shape attitude. I'm a big fan of comfort. I think soothing and comforting is really that first step to bringing yourself home to yourself. So as you arrive in this practice, find a comforting position for your body. You might try sitting on the floor. Here I am cross-legged on a cushion. Classic yoga pose. You don't have anything to prove. So if you're not comforted by this position, maybe you'd prefer to sit in a chair. Pick a comfortable one, maybe one that has a back, and lean back into the chair and just feel that chair supporting you. We all have a habit of pushing forward with our chins, with our chests. We have kind of a forward momentum to our bodies, and it can be very wearing on you physically. So if you have a chair with a back and you'd like to lean back into it a little bit, I highly recommend it. And here we are in the middle of the day, but if you have the luxury of being able to lie down right now, if you're not in a Zoom meeting while you're watching this, or you're not in a place that doesn't have a lot of room that you can actually lie down, then please go ahead, lie on your back, and have your legs out in front of you, and have your arms at your sides. If you're sitting in a chair or sitting cross-legged on the floor or in any other position on the floor, let's find a comforting place for your hands. You might try palms in your lap, palms up. You might try palms on your knees, palms up or palms down. If you're sitting in a chair, palms resting gently on your thighs might be nice. I can make a lot of suggestions and recommendations. I have been teaching and practicing yoga for 50 years. So there's lots of things that I can recommend. But the thing that I can't know is what actually feels good to you in this moment. And on that subject, you are the expert. So trust yourself. All right, I'm going to settle back into my cushion. It feels very comforting to me. Just notice that hands on my knees feels really nice. I had them in my lap before, and yet right here I can notice that they feel much more comforting. Shift your gaze. So you're going to be looking at something in front of you, and especially if you are sitting in a chair or sitting on the floor, look at something in front of you and look more out of the tops of your eyes than the centers of your eyes. And here's why. When you look out of the centers of your eyes, you're going to tend to do this chin thrust again. Can you notice what happens when you thrust your chin? What happens to your neck? There's a bit of a strain there. This forward motion tends to even hunch your shoulders a little bit. It's very much a habit, so we don't really notice it. But here in this Blissful Warrior practice, we are going to be warriors about noticing everything. Noticing without judgment, being curious to notice how it feels, and can it feel better? Even the tiniest little bit better makes a huge difference, not only in your physical well-being, but in your emotional state. So, looking at that object out of the tops of your eyes more so than the centers, you notice your chin drop a little bit. Imagine you're placing your head back on top of your neck instead of in the outward forward position where it usually is. If you're lying on the ground on your back, shift your gaze, so rather than looking at the ceiling, you are looking down the center of your body, and you'll get that same little feeling in the back of your neck, that really nice bit of a stretch. Just take a moment to notice it. We're going to be curious observers of the way our bodies feel and the way our emotions begin to settle. Not trying so hard to make anything happen, as much as being present and noticing these things arise naturally. There's a big difference. We're not used to that. We're really used to being overachievers, pushing ourselves with goals and milestones and lots of judgment along the way. And all it does is stand between you and the happiness that you're seeking. That happiness is right here, right now, in your settled body. Here we are arriving. I can notice right away that I'm beginning to feel something calm, something balanced. Just take a moment to notice what adjectives you might use to describe how you're feeling right now. And how you feel is a great indicator for where you are in terms of your own health and well-being. Learn to respect those feelings. Okay, now we're going to move into some deep breathing. Again, sounds obvious, right? We're breathing all the time. It's the first thing you do when you arrive here on this planet. It's the last thing you do before you say goodbye. And yet, if we will stop here and pause to deliberately focus on breathing and notice how it feels in the body, how it calms the nervous system and gentles your thoughts, then breathing becomes more than just something you do to survive. So we will be breathing in and out through the nose, and you'll be hearing this loud ha sound at the base of your throat, like an ocean wave rising and falling. So settling in, settling back, let's begin. Inhale. So notice that you know you're bringing the breath in through your nose, but you hear that loud, resounding ha sound at the base of your throat that you are deliberately making. Pull your collarbones nice and wide. You can feel some traction across your chest. Your heart center stays open. Your rib cage opens out to the sides. And then exhale. And deflate your belly. Keep your ribs wide so your heart center stays open. Let your rib cage start to move in towards the midline of your body, and then dropping your tailbone down as if it's pointing to the ground, and then slightly tucking it up. Stay empty. Relish this pause. And inhale. Collarbones wide, chin down. Let your ribs widen out to the sides, holding yourself in this full state. Feeling the satisfaction of this. And exhale. Hearing that ha sound at the base of your throat, the ebb and flow of an ocean wave. Tailbone down, and then slightly tuck your tailbone up towards your navel, feeling that heart center open a little more. Inhale. Exhale. Staying empty, this wonderful pause makes you feel, again, like you've arrived home. Inhale. Holding it here, keeping your collarbones nice and wide, noticing that your shoulders tend to settle down when the collarbones are open wide. And exhale. Staying empty, feeling the luxury of this pause. Collarbones are wide. Now I feel inspired to turn my palms up. Chin down. Exhale. Noticing with every breath, you can go a little deeper and hold a little longer. Not because it's exhausting, because there's just more room. Inhale. Keeping those collarbones wide is one of the keys to keeping your posture really steady, helping you to feel fully in your body. Exhale. Staying empty. And even though you're empty of breath, you can feel something expansive happening inside of you. And one more. Inhale. Collarbones wide, chin is still dropped, arms are relaxed, eyes are open. Then exhale. And now, after these 6 deep breaths, just noticing how you feel. Noticing if something has shifted in your emotional state. Maybe your body feels a little lighter. Maybe you just feel a little calmer. Maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being very chill and 10 being sort of agitated, you might give yourself a number where you've landed right now. You know, as your day goes on, there will be things that, I don't want to say they're trying to pull you off your balance, but conditions around you that you might notice might be a little bit jarring. They might be a little bit less than the state of balance that you're feeling right now. And maybe it feels like these conditions, when you pay attention to them, are a threat to your sense of well-being. And maybe for a moment, they do throw you off balance. But the way you feel right now is easily attainable by stopping and pausing and taking a few deep breaths. And that being the case, there isn't really anything that can push you off balance for longer than you allow it to. If you're here with me on this call, right now you might notice that we do have somebody who comes on this call and constantly asks us yoga teachers to pose for him. And although I notice the comments, and you might also, right now at this moment, initially it was a little jarring, and right now it's just part of the background. Nothing that can threaten my sense right now of being right here, who I am, as I am, and enjoying this moment of presence. So, we're going to move into some stretches, some yoga poses. If you'd like to join me, please do. Grab a little water. Let's have a few sips of water. Drink more water, my friends. I have very few rules, and even this one I'm not giving you as a rule, but as a very, very strong suggestion. Try this for yourself. Half your body weight in ounces of water every day, and just notice what changes you see and feel in your physiology and even in your emotional state. Water is that powerful. So we're going to be lying down today for some really deep hip stretches. And by deep, I don't mean we're going to push into places that are meant to pull you apart. I mean deep in your your sense of allowing these stretches to find their way into your body in a way that feels most comforting for you. You know, the place where you feel the most soothed in any pose, in any physical activity, is actually the place of most benefit. Once you cross over into places of pushing or struggling or especially feeling pain, you are no longer in a beneficial place. So as we do these poses, and I will guide you through them step by step, I want to encourage you to take the time to feel the pleasure of these poses. And please do not push yourself into pain. If anything feels painful, simply back the pose down a little bit to a place that feels more like an awakening in your body, a sense of noticing a sensation, but not an unpleasant one. Okay, if you're sitting in a chair, you can come to the ground. If you're sitting on the ground, you're already here. If you're lying down, that's exactly where we're all going right now. So let's lie down, lying on our backs. Legs out. Now ease yourself down to the ground, elbow tips, forearms, and then you're all the way down, back of your head. Shift your gaze down the middle of your body to encourage the neck to open. Arms are at your sides. Slide them. Slide them on the ground until they're rather far from your body. And notice how light they feel. Heels are very lightly touching. Toes are flopped apart. Maybe tucking your chin, nestling your shoulder blades a little. Just easing yourself into this supportive surface that's really prepared to hold your body. So you don't have to hold yourself on the floor. Your job is to let go. As you inhale, ribs go wide, collarbones are wide, chin is down. And exhale. Keeping the collarbones wide, feeling the ribs come together towards your midline. And then as you exhale completely, drop your lower back as if someone has just slipped their hand under the small of your back and you're dropping into it. Just stay empty here for a moment. Feel the lightness of this. And we'll move into a pose called Pavanamuktasana. So bring your legs together and point your toes, locking down on your thighs and calves and rotating your knees. Slide your arms in close. Pull your fingertips, keep your rib cage down, collarbones wide. Just feel the strength of this pull. And then just inhale and bend your right knee and place the sole of your right foot on the ground. Tucking your chin and exhale, drop your lower back and relax your arms. Inhale, bend your knee to your chest, bend your elbow tips and clasp all 10 fingers, including your thumbs, 2 inches below the knee, and then let that knee fall into this net of fingers. Exhale. Inhale, elbows in your waist, collarbones wide, shoulder blades nestled to the mat, and chin down. And then as you exhale, begin to tighten the net of fingers and guide your right knee towards your right armpit, tucking your chin. Let that knee go around the rib cage a little bit, aiming to the armpit. So feel that pinch in the hip. It's not an unpleasant sensation. This is called the tourniquet effect, cutting off the blood supply here for a moment. So when this pose is over, you'll have a fresh rush of oxygenated blood through the right hip. At the same time, you can feel that deep stretch in the left groin, maybe down the left hip. Relaxing the left leg more and more will facilitate that stretch. Inhale, collarbones wide and chin down. Relax your feet. Exhale, tighten the grip of your fingers and guide the right knee to the right armpit. And then changing the pose. Bring the sole of your right foot to the ground, slide your right leg out, and bring your arms out again, far away from your body. Feel the sensations of lightness. Inhale. And now inhale, bring your legs together again. Bring your arms in close and pulling from the fingertips. Collarbones wide, shoulder blades nestled. And as you exhale, bend the left leg. Place the sole of the left foot on the ground, tucking your chin. Inhale. And as you exhale, bend the left knee to the chest. Bend the elbow tips and clasp all 10 fingers 2 inches below the left knee, and allow that knee to fall forward into the clasped net of fingers. Inhale, chin down, collarbones wide. Elbows are in your waist, hugging tight. And as you exhale, tighten the net. Guide the left knee towards the left armpit. Feeling that pinch deep in the left hip, the stretch in the right groin, right hip, keeping both elbows in the waist. It's a bit of a game to try to keep that right elbow in the waist when it wants to creep up over the rib cage. But notice the satisfaction, that feeling of stretch as you keep the elbows in the waist. Inhale, chin down, collarbones wide. And as you exhale again, tightening the net of fingers and guiding the left knee towards the left armpit. So this pose, not only good for the hips, but a wonderful massage for the digestive system. On the right side, the ascending colon. On the left side, the descending colon. So just relax with the idea of the benefits that your body is receiving. And notice how good it feels. And then changing the pose. Sole of the left foot to the ground. Slide your left leg out, bringing your arms out to the sides again. Heels are touching and toes flopped apart. Inhale. Exhale. Really elongating the inhales and exhales, dropping down. And now inhale, bring your legs together again and point your toes. Rotate your knees in a little bit so you can really feel the lockdown of your thighs and calves as you bring your arms in close to your body and tuck your chin, collarbones wide, rib cage, try to avoid thrusting it up. Bend both knees, place the soles of both feet to the ground and inch your heels nice and close. Squeeze your legs together, keep the collarbones pulled wide, and draw your knees to your chest. Bend your elbow tips, and as you exhale, wrap your arms and grab what you can, keeping your head on the mat. It might be fingers, wrists, forearms, elbow tips, upper arms. Whatever's available for you today is just right for you today. Inhale, squeeze your legs together, collarbones wide, chin down. And as you exhale, use this cradle of arms to draw the knees to the chest, tuck the chin to the throat, and then lastly, begin pushing your knees outward into the crooks of your elbows and feeling your back open up. So the pinch now in both hips, the wonderful tourniquet effect, getting ready for a fresh rush of oxygenated blood in the hips, and the flattening and elongating of your spine. Inhale, squeeze your legs together. Tuck your chin, collarbones are wide. And as you exhale, draw the knees closer. Tuck the chin more. And begin pushing the knees outward a little bit. Just notice this beautiful feeling of pressure. More like massage. And then change. Allow your knees to rest where they are. Drop your arms. Palms facing up. Collarbones wide, shoulder blades on the mat. Inhale. And as you exhale, just lower the soles of your feet to the ground. Let them come to rest 6 inches apart, about hip-width distance. Drop your lower back. Check in on the rib cage. As you inhale, turn your palms over, slide your arms close to your body, lift your hips lightly and bring your arms under you. resting your hips on your wrists. Maybe you can inch your heels in closer. You can reach out and grab your ankles. If that's not available to you today, don't worry about it. Keep the hips on the wrists. Otherwise, grab around the ankles. Feet are 6 inches hip-width distance. Collarbones are wide and chin down. And as you inhale your breath, begin to tighten your quads, your thighs. Begin pointing your knees forward towards the wall in front of you. Keeping your collarbones wide and your shoulder blades on the mat, allow your hips to be lightly lifted. Letting the knees point forward, keeping the quads locked, tuck your chin. This is bridge pose. Then as you exhale, relaxing the quads, allowing the knees to point to the ceiling again, and the hips get lowered down, one vertebra at a time, and hips last. Inhale, tighten the thighs, point the knees forward, tuck your chin, keep your collarbones wide. Nice to hold here in the pause. Then as you exhale, relax the quads, the tops of your thighs. Allow the knees to point to the center, and you will feel your back get lowered down one vertebra at a time. Lower back last. And one more time as you inhale, tighten the quads. Begin pointing the knees forward, tucking your chin, collarbones wide, shoulder blades nestle to the mat as your hips float up. And as you exhale, relaxing the quads, letting the knees point to the ceiling, lowering down one vertebra at a time, middle back, lower back. And then lift your hips and roll your arms out. Slide your legs out. Allow your heels to lightly touch and let your toes flop out to the side so you're splaying your feet apart as your heels touch. Your knees are also splayed a little bit and your hips are relaxed. Inhale. Thinking about that sound at the back of your throat, feeling the ribs come out and in. All right, we're going to do a sit-up. Now, if you have a bad back in any way, you can skip the sit-up, but if you'd like to try it, here's how it goes. Legs out, flex your heels. Inhale your arms overhead. Pull from your fingertips, lift from under your rib cage, tuck your chin, holding here at the top of your stretch, and then sit up. Reach for the ceiling. Reach forward, grab your big toes, look at the wall in front of you as you double jerk with your elbows and double exhale through your mouth. Shh, and then hang forward. Tuck your chin to your throat. Feel yourself getting pulled forward. Your elbows are bending towards your calves. Relax. Let's do some separate leg stretching. Beautiful forward bending pose. Bring your right leg out to the right, flexing your right heel, flexing the toes towards your face. Rotate that knee in a little bit. Oh, sneeze coming on. So, if this bent knee causes you any distress, you might feel sensation, right? You know the difference between sensation and pain. If you feel any pain, then you can just keep this leg straight out ahead. Otherwise, having the sole of the foot against the inner thigh feels very grounding. Lean back a little bit so both hips are equally square. Inhale the arms overhead. Clasp all 10 fingers into a net over your head and pull. Pull the net towards the ceiling. Feel the length in your arms, the lift in your ribs. Lean a little bit into your hips backwards. Turn your torso towards your outstretched right leg, and as you exhale your breath, come forward and let that net of fingers come onto the ball of your foot and drop. Chin to throat, forehead to knee. Keep the net of fingers tight. Let your elbows bend right there beside your calf. Keep tucking your chin more and more, relaxing your neck. Maybe wiggle down a little bit onto that left hip, making sure both hips are square to the ground. Just allow yourself to get pulled by gravity, feeling the really beautiful soothing of this pull. Changing the pose. Pull the net of fingers off the ball of your foot, keeping that heel flexed, coming up slowly as if you're stacking your spine one vertebra at a time, and come towards the center. Now, keeping the arms overhead, let's alternate the legs by using the abdominal wall instead of the arms. So now let's bring the left leg out 45 degrees and the sole of the right foot tucked up against the inner left thigh. Checking again if there's any pain in this bent knee. You keep that leg straight out ahead of you. Inhale and lift. As you lift, you can feel your arms growing longer, but feel it under your ribs as well. And lean back just a little bit. Turn towards the outstretched leg, and as you exhale, let's throw this net over the ball of your right foot. Left foot, and drop. Forehead to knee. Elbow tips bending to the ground. Just allow your shoulders to sort of shrug on their own. You can feel some movement here as your hips come forward. The more you relax, you're going to start feeling these moments of letting go in your hips, in your back, in your neck, in your arms. And then changing out of the pose, pull the net forward off the ball of your foot. Let's come right back up to center. And now bring both legs out in front of you and lift and stretch, flexing your heels towards the wall in front of you and the pinky toes around towards your face. Lean back and separate your hands. Palms are parallel to each other. And as you exhale, come forward. Take your first two fingers, hook them between your first two toes. And walking backwards a little bit. Keep your eyes in front of you. Feel your back growing nice and long as you inhale. Heels are flexed. Lift your chest, pull your collarbones wide. And as you exhale, suck your stomach in. And if your legs are straight, you can begin pulling your chest between your shoulders. Now, if your knees are still bent, that's perfectly okay. You can just stay where you are without pulling. There's benefits to every part of this pose. Inhale. And if you exhale and you flex your heels and your legs are straight, you can bend your elbows and pull. Laying your chest on your thighs. And changing out of the pose, place your palms on your feet, sliding yourself back up, palms on your shins. Heels are flexed, toes flexed towards the ceiling, and take a breath. Inhale. And exhale. Leaning back a little bit, feeling yourself held by your hips. Let's try a butterfly stretch. So again, this is especially good if you don't have any problems with your knees. So bring the soles of your feet together, holding around your feet with your hands, allowing your knees to come out to the sides, and just very gently rocking the knees. A little bouncing kind of feeling here. And as you inhale, now as you exhale, stop the bouncing of the knees and just allow the knees to settle wherever they go. Holding tight. Inhale, lift your chest. And as you exhale, maybe beginning to pull forward a little bit, leading with your breastbone. deep stretch deep in your groin. And then coming up again. Allowing the knees to be really relaxed. And then release the feet. Bring the legs out in front of you. Flexing your heels. Placing your palms on your shins. Flexing your heels forward and flexing the toes towards your face. Collarbones wide and chin down. Keeping your gaze steady. Looking out of the tops of your eyes. And take a breath. Inhale. And exhale. And now find that comfortable position that you arrived in, or maybe it's a different position for you right now. Grab my cushion and just relax. Now, if you're watching this video, if you're here with me live, or maybe you're watching it later, I am not going to go back here and delete the comments from our stalker on this site, although I will be blocking this person after that. But I do want you to notice that even in conditions that seem to be pushing your buttons, right? When conditions around you are not necessarily within your control, and yet there they are, you can still maintain this sense of yourself. Now, it's not that you don't have your feelings about these conditions and wish that they were different, but you don't have to be a slave to outside conditions. You can notice that they're there, and then you can simply keep yourself as yourself. Breathing, taking time to really pause, and to mentally ask yourself, what kind of a reaction would actually make me feel more empowered? And if you don't come up with anything, then breathing is always a really wonderful fallback position. And as I said, we're all breathing all the time anyway. And if you can be deliberate about your breaths, then you can be deliberate about your life, about your reactions to conditions around you. And we are living in very challenging times. Lots of conditions have changed very quickly, and not just a little bit, but a lot. And it's very triggering. And here we are in the holiday season, where this holiday will actually look quite different from any holiday that you might have ever experienced before. And these kinds of situations and conditions can trigger a lot of reactivity. So you'll have your reactions, of course you will, but you will have the tools to empower yourself to really go forward from those conditions in a way that feels empowering to you. So let's end with some nice deep breaths again. Finding the comfortable, comforting position for your body, sitting on the floor, sitting in a chair. Maybe you'd like to lie down on your back for this ending of the class, giving this an opportunity to really settle into your nervous system. Let's take those 3 deep breaths again. Inhale. Collarbones wide and chin dropped a little bit. Ribs out to the sides. And then exhale, keeping the collarbones wide, hearing that sound at the base of your throat. Ribs together and deflate. Inhale. Exhale. and just noticing now, on that scale of 1 to 10, that reactivity scale, 1 being very calm, 10 being very agitated, just notice where you've landed. This is the person that you'll be taking into the rest of your day or your evening, depending on where and what time you're watching this video. This live presentation that will be saved as video, probably for a little while here on our Facebook page and then eventually on YouTube. Just notice that wherever you go from here forward, you bring yourself. Nice to know that you have that control, that power, and that opportunity to be yourself under all conditions. And so to our stalker today, Shans, I don't know who you are, but thank you for offering me an opportunity to offer this little lesson to those who are watching today, that no matter what the conditions are around you, no matter who's trying to provoke you or upset you, you have the final say. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you benefited from this practice, and I hope to see you again soon. I'm Rhonda Uretsky, the owner of River Flow Yoga. We normally have this practice on our private Facebook page called The Blissful Warrior. We will stay here, as I promised, a little bit through the holidays, because so many of us need this calming, centering stability as things just begin to ratchet up a little bit out there. And hopefully that momentum around you will be one of increased joy and satisfaction. Thank you again. I hope to see you soon. Bye, friends.